Welcome to the channel What's Sold. In this channel we tell you what's sold. Bottom line, brass tacks, no fluff. We bought these things, we sold them on eBay. We'll show you what they sold for, give you a little bit of information. This is an exciting double feature week, 2 videos in 1 week. I got some cool stuff that has sold. I want to tell you about it. Without further ado, let's hit it. First thing today we're going to look at is this. It's like a necklace, basically, and it looks just like a lot of common costume jewelry. But upon further inspection, if you look really close at it, you'll see kind of these lines, these striations in this. And what you're really looking at here is a combination of coral, obviously, which grows in the ocean, and bone. Bovine, which is an animal, obviously. So whenever you look at this kind of stuff, sometimes things are made, these costume pieces are made to look like things like coral or bone, but they're actually synthetic. And then other times, if you don't look at it really closely, you're going to think that it's synthetic until you inspect it more closely, and then you'll realize that it's actually like a natural substance. So what we're looking at is something I paid $3 for. That was amongst a bunch of costume jewelry, but because I have handled and researched thousands of pieces of jewelry, I'm much better now than I used to be at identifying things for what they are. So I got one bid on this, $40. That was a pretty good flip there. Lures. Antique lures. You can find them at antique stores. You can find them sometimes at thrift stores. You can find them at yard sales, garage sales, sometimes estate sales where they have the whole house open and you can walk up into the garage. Sometimes you'll find them individually. Other times they may have like a whole tackle box. In fact, yesterday at a thrift store, I bought a tackle box. Inside of it, happened to have tools as opposed to fishing items, but you never know. A lot of times if something's old or maybe a couple of pieces are kind of rusted or something, they think that they're not worth anything, but certain lures can sell for, you know, gargantuan amounts of money. The best situation is when you have a lure that's in pretty good condition and it comes in the original box or the original packaging. If it's sealed and has never been used, even better. We call that an NOS item, new old stock. So it's new. It's new in the sense that it's never been used because it's never been opened, but it's old because it was manufactured potentially decades ago. So this is a Hellbender. It says the Magnum Chopper Stopper. I don't exactly know what fish this is intended to catch, but there you can buy, there's different types of lures, different sizes, different colors. The way that they move or articulate is intended to attract certain types of fish, both freshwater and saltwater fish. So this particular one, you know, it came in with a lot like I described to you. I probably paid $10 for the lot, and it had 20 or 30 lures in it. So I'm in only a few cents per item. $8 for this almost got me all my money back. And that's if you're new to this channel, or if you're new to reselling, or maybe if you're considering reselling, one of the pieces of advice I would give you, provided your funds allow for it, are instead of going out and just looking for individual things to buy and sell, maybe spend some time, wait until you have a little bit more cash available, and search for groups or lots of items. So yeah, you could go and try to find one fishing lure, or you could wait and pay a little bit more for a tackle box full of lures. And in that tackle box, you've got lures, you've probably got weights, you've probably got maybe pliers or pocket knives, and then you empty all that out and you can sell the tackle box itself as well. So you've got lots of things and you're spreading that cost out over several different items. This next thing here is, I do a lot of jewelry, and I'll even sell broken, damaged pieces, and this is a good example. It was a bangle bracelet that had been cut in this weird way all the way around it, and then inside of that was fit this green stone called marcasite. Or not marcasite, sorry, malachite. Is that right? malachite, I believe, the green. Marcasite is the little kind of silvery colored stones that were kind of Victorian era. But it's this green, it's kind of like dark and light green stone that was placed in there. It had broken in one spot and was no longer functional, so I broke it into smaller pieces so that you could see it. But testing it out, it comes out to be 10 karat. It's 10 karat gold. So you weigh it, it's 23 grams. You look at the spot weight of gold today, and then I would mark that down about 20% so that a gold buyer is going to buy it, and they're going to make a little bit of money off of it also. And that's why I got the buyer. Looking at $500 and some. This is the kind of thing that some people just throw this stuff away. They don't care that it's gold, or they don't realize the values that it can bring. But familiarize yourself with the spot values of 1 gram of 14 karat gold, or 1 gram of 10 karat gold. I've talked about this before, but I have a ring that is 18 karat gold, and it's right about 7.8 grams. And so instead of carrying a scale with me, if I'm curious about something is either marked gold or I'm suspecting that it's gold, I will sort of just do like a, and this is definitely not precise, but I would kind of gauge, okay, this feels about half that weight. We're looking at maybe 4 grams. I'll do the calculation, okay, 14 karat gold is selling for $38 or $42 a gram, and I'll figure out how much it is. Now, if you're buying things $3, $4, $5 for a piece of jewelry, it doesn't matter. You're going to make great money on that either way. But that's just something that I do. I also always carry a loop so that I can look really closely at things. I carry a magnet so I can test if it's magnetic, because if it is, then I know it's not silver and gold straight away. And then when I have back here where I work, I have a gold scratch test, a silver scratch test. I have a presidium tester for gemstones and various things like that, which is not important to have if you're just a hobbyist. But if you're a full-time reseller like myself, you need to be confident about what you have before you sell it. Otherwise, you're going to face a lot of returns. Next up, we got some pocket knives. I buy and sell pocket knives a lot because this is a category of things that sells really well. Costume jewelry and fine jewelry, awesome. Pocket watches, watches that run or of good brands, awesome. Pocket knives, awesome. It doesn't matter what it is. I can even sell things that are damaged because it's just a type of genre that is heavily collected. They're also functional, so people sometimes buy them to use. They buy them as gifts. They buy them as a part of a collection to add to things, and so there's a lot of buyers. This particular one says compliments of Bloom. Well, I turned Bloom Cooperative Exchange. Okay. It says something Pride on the blade. Anyways, interesting little kind of saw blade piece there, but these came in a box that I paid $20 for, and it had maybe 30 or 40 pocket knives in it. So I was in under $1 per knife. So let's look at this as a $2 expense, $12. That's not too bad. This is an old ledger. Now, I bought a group of 10 of these similar items at an estate sale for $40, and it was a combination of academic ledgers, so a teacher who's doing grades and keeping track of their instruction. Also, secretaries at like department stores or mercantile things. There were church members. And even like club members who they were tasked to just like write down, who was in attendance and what did we discuss and what was voted on and that sort of thing. And these are all from the late 1800s, early 1900s. Let's see if I can pull this up. You can see it's got all kinds of really cool writing on the edges. If you're familiar with the writing style and the cursive and the script that was common in the 1800s, for example, it's beautiful. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And there's a lot of variety, but really cool. This particular one, I guess, was like a church thing. Was it? Did I write that? No, yeah, a teacher. So it was like clearly religious, but it was also like an instructor. So $28. Like again, I said I paid $40 for this lot. I sold about half of them. It's taken me about 6 months just because I don't want to lower the price that much more. But I'm going to get a really good thing off of that. So paper ephemera, postcards, photographs, marriage licenses, bonds. Just all kinds of stuff. Ledgers, notebooks, scrapbooks. These things have big collector groups, and so I've done really well off of those in the past. All right, this was cool. I sold this just I think it was last night. And so this is what's cool about it. I think 3 of these sold at $8 a piece, right? So I've got $20 to $30 here from this sale, and it is of these tiny little replacement tips for old fountain pens, and it's a number 1. I'm going to pull this up to show you. I've got it right here in my hand. It's this little box right here. You can see it. I don't know if it'll zoom in on it or not, but if I open it up, it is about half full right now of these. I bought this box. This is what's awesome, okay? I bought this box. I'm going to pull it up. What they just bought per listing, okay, was 2 of these. I've got them right here. 2 little replacement nibs there for this fountain pen. This box had 50 or 60 in it. I paid $1 for it at a thrift store, okay? And I put this up in lots of 2 for $8. I've sold about half of them. Okay, so at two per sale, I've done about 15 sales at $8. So 15 times 8, and that's only half of what I have. And I got another half, and that was just $1 expense. So if you ever come across like vintage pencil lead or ink pen parts, things like that, there are still people who still use fountain pens. There's lots out there. They're still produced and purchased and used today. So that was a really cool sale. I had this one person bought 3, so they bought 6 total replacement nibs. They go out eventually, and they need to be replaced. And so this was, I mean, talk about, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to make $200 or more off of this box that I paid $1 for. So keep a lookout for that kind of thing. This was cool. This came in the antique store buyout that we did here in February, and it is now July, beginning of July. This is like a butter churn thing, and it says patented December 18th, 1917. It's cast iron. It's got that, that protective coat of paint on the metal to keep it from rusting too bad or too quickly. I wanted to sell it for more. It just took a while. It's not that heavy. It's probably 8 to 10 pounds. I mean, that's kind of heavy, but it's not, for what it is. But they paid actually more in shipping than they paid for that. And it's probably not going to cost $50 to ship. It's going to cost probably more like $25 to $30 potentially. But so, I made about $60 off of that. This is not something I bought individually. I bought it in a group. Again, it's July. It took me from the end of February till now to sell it. Though probably at least 50%, maybe 60% of the stuff I bought on that lot I have yet to even go through. I don't even know what I've got. It's in storage units, ready to be pulled out. So it just takes time, But that was a really cool piece because it's old and it's interesting. All right, this bought in Wilmington, North Carolina. I was on vacation last week with my family. And came across, I bought 6 postcards that day, and I paid between $3 and $5 a piece for them. To be honest with you, I can't remember if this one cost me $3 or $4 or $5. But let's just say $5. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is a real picture postcard. It's of the south end of Nags Head, North Carolina. And this was featured on the Rusty, the reseller channel. My brother showed this recently. Really awesome, just to give you an idea of like small, cheap things that you can pay for that can give you explosive profits. In fact, he dropped a video yesterday. You should check it out on the Rusty the Reseller channel if you haven't already. But this is on the coast. You can see this is, circa mid 1900 or like the teens, basically. I think it's 1917. We're going to look at it here. No, it's 1926. My bad. So the 20s. Still, over 100 years old. Or right around 100 years old right now. We're a couple years off from that. But $133.50, 13 bids on a piece of paper that has a photograph on it. I love old postcards. I just think that they're fascinating. And if you're not aware, there are a lot of different reasons why people collect or would buy postcards. actually, again, on the Rusty channel, if you look up postcards or look up postcard specific videos, we've got one on there that talks about 8 or 10 different things that have to do with postcards that can make them valuable. Sometimes it's the stamp and has nothing to do with the card. Sometimes it's the cancellation on the postage. Sometimes it's where it came from or is going. It's the actual content of the photograph. It's the writing. I mean, there's lots of things, whether it's a famous artist maybe did a picture on it, or anyways, there's lots of things. Check that out if you're interested in postcards. I think that I personally think that they're really cool. This was one of the better costume individual pieces sales that I've done in the last probably couple of months when we're talking about just a specific piece. I paid $3 for this just because I thought it was unique. I hadn't seen one like it before. And on the back it said Lincoln Wallace, so I knew it was a boutique, like an individual craftsman, artisan who made this, and it said 1/10 10 karat, so it had gold content. So I thought, okay, I'll be able to sell this because it has gold content to somebody who wants the gold, or I'll be able to sell it to somebody who collects this particular person or company's work, right? I didn't know where it was from. In researching it, I discovered it was from Alaska, and I didn't actually sell this for $355. I don't know why it's not showing the line through it. I actually took a best offer of $265. So, some of these had sold in the 300 range. What I often do when I first buy something is I put it up at a higher range, because sometimes you sell it for that. But I also like to be able to come down quite a bit if someone offers me, or if I send an offer, so that people feel like they're getting a deal. I paid $3, I sold it for $265, and it took 2 weeks. So I bought it locally at a thrift store. It's a thrift store I frequent quite a bit and have done very well at this place specifically in the last couple of years. Another postcard. Same place, same day that I bought the other postcard that sold for $133. This either cost $3, $4, or $5. $20.50 in the first cycle of a 7-day auction. So I bought it in 7 days. It sold. So let's say I paid $5 for the last one and $5 for this one. I'd be $10 in on 2 postcards, and I got a combined $150 some off of these 2. That's good. I mean, if you can find things like that, I knew that these would sell. I didn't know that the other one would sell for quite as much, but it's always a possibility, because these are unique scenes. They're maybe the only of their kind, and people collect stuff from certain regions. Both of them, Wilmington is obviously on the coast, the Atlantic coast of North Carolina, and this is of the Hatteras Lighthouse, and the other one was from Nag's Head. So both regional places. You can even see that the condition of the card is not excellent. It's got rough corners, it's got bends, it's got folds, it's got this crease in the corner, but it doesn't matter, because I don't know if this lighthouse even exists in this way today. It may not. I've not actually done the research on that. There may still be a lighthouse there, but it might not be the same one, or if it is the same one, it might not be colored in this way. I mean, this looks like almost like a barber's pole, right? With this kind of circular pattern going up there, but really cool. 1917. So when I said 1917 before, I was remembering this one. Anyways, very cool. You can see that the postage has been I can't tell if that was ripped off or what's going on there, but the stamp, there's something up with that. It's not on there, but it didn't matter. $20.50. I was happy with that, and I hope that they are too. This came in a thrift store buyout that I did. I didn't buy the whole thrift store. I just bought one room's worth of stuff. But in here were some swords. And this one was interesting. This is not, I don't think, a sword that was actually used. I think that this was made for display, probably as a tourist keepsake, or like a thing to buy when you're traveling. And you can see it's got this kind of carved wooden handle, a little etching on the hilt there, some metal in it. But the way that it's set up, it's definitely not a functional piece, I don't believe. Had some cord there. It's a cool looking piece for a person who would want to have something from another part of the world. And it says this is from like Thai, It says Vietnam and Thai. I got some differing opinions or things when I was looking for it. I just put them both in the title. Let's just say Southeast Asia is probably where this came from. $40. Took a little while to sell it. You know, it's not maybe the kind of thing that everyone wants, but again, I didn't buy it individually. I've already, within 2 weeks of that buyout, I had made all of my money back. So everything I'm selling here now is just profit. And I think I bought that in, when did I buy that? It was like August or September of last year. So we're looking at, you know, several months to sell this. Okay, here's a Frank Whiting sterling silver edge, like a crystal, like a coaster and or ashtray. It's probably more like an ashtray. You can see that it's tarnished pretty heavily along the edges. I didn't polish it. I almost never polish silver in antique items because a lot of people, collectors, don't want them to be polished. They like the way that they have naturally aged, and if they want to polish it, they can. Another reason I don't polish it is because every time you polish silver, you're not just making it shine. What you're doing is you're removing a very thin layer of silver, and you're basically removing the layer that has tarnish. So you're not just making tarnish go away, you're actually removing a portion of the layer. And if it's plated, now this is sterling, so like it doesn't matter how far you wipe down, it's always going to be silver because it's solid. It's like 925 parts out of 1,000 silver. But if it's silver plated, especially like silver plated silverware, you really shouldn't polish that very often at all, because every time you do that, you're getting closer and closer to the base metal, which will not be shiny like silver. So anyhow, this I had for way longer than I expected to have it. I'd seen one sell, in retrospect, had I known it was going to take this long, I wouldn't have bought it. And that happens. I mean, that's just a part of the business, right? You don't always know. I took a best offer of $14. So with shipping, it was $20, but I only paid $2 for it. So that's not too terrible. So this was an interesting little hack that I'm certainly not the first person to do, but I observed something and thought, I'm going to try this and see if it works. And that is, it's not the item itself, but it's actually the fact that I have it in this little tiny display box, right? So I bought a bunch at an estate sale, a bunch of, it was like a watchmaker's like stuff. So I mean, everything you can think of that goes into watchmaking and repair. So the dials, the hands, all of the little cogs, the crowns, the crystal that goes on, I mean, everything you can think of, including these. And these were unique because, yes, they're antique, but they are enameled or porcelain faces, which, newer pieces are usually not made in that way. So we've got an Emile Jacot, and some Waltham, Hampden. Some of these have the movements attached to them. Some of them were just the faces themselves. But I got a bunch of these. I got a bunch of just movements with no faces and other things, right? So I had these up. They weren't selling. And I noticed that at an antique store that I sell at locally, one of the vendors near me in a glass case does very well selling things. And it's not because this guy's stuff is all that unique or all that much different, honestly, than the stuff I sell. But what he does is everything he has in one of these little, it's like this big glass or plastic on the top, and it has like foam underneath it. So it's essentially like a little display box. Now, I live outside of Asheville, North Carolina, which is a heavy tourism town. And people come here and they go to antique stores and they spend lots of money. It's a trip. They can justify it because they're on vacation, or they'll say, oh, this would be a great gift for somebody, like I'm going to take back to my kids or to so-and-so else this thing that I got while I was on my trip. It's brilliant, right? I don't think that this would necessarily work everywhere, but this person sells hordes of things because they display them in a certain way. And I can't imagine that, especially if you buy them in bulk, that these would cost all that much. I haven't actually spent the time researching it, though I should. I had a couple of these laying around, so these hadn't sold. This is a long story, I'm sorry. They hadn't sold. So I threw them up in this deal and immediately they sold. $20, which is not a ton, but they sold. So it's got me thinking, maybe I need to start taking some of these smaller things like jewelry, right? Or whatever else, and definitely in the antique store where people are coming in, but maybe even on eBay. I'm not sure. If you have opinions on that, or if you've experienced anything like that, let me know. Or if not that, but some other way of displaying something that you found works really, really well for you, please share that. Not just for myself, but any other viewers would probably like to know as well. All right, here's another little thing that I got from the antique store buyout, and I didn't just get one of these. I got like 50 of them. They were like just in a box, and there was tons of them, right? So I did what I like to do when I have something of multiple items. I'll put up one listing and I'll say quantity of 50, and I'll do a fairly low price. So I did this, I do it differently. This was an auction. Sometimes they're just buy it now, and sometimes I'll run them simultaneously because I'm not worried if both sell. I've got 50 of them, right? So $10, this is like a little green jar, a little green thing. You could do all kinds of things with this. You could just display it as it is. You could put any number of things in it. You could store spices in it, salt and pepper. You could put sand in it. You could put colored water in it. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that people do to display stuff. These have these little stickers on them that say made in Spain. This is not the exact one that's in this picture because I've already shipped that, but this is what they are. They look like this. They're these small jars. They're like this slight green tint. They're definitely older. They're probably from around the 1960s, 1970s, and they've got these little corks in them. So I got like 50 of them. And so if I'm able over the next year or two to sell these at $10 a piece, 50 of them at $10 a piece, that's pretty good, right? Because based on the quantity of items I paid for in that lot, I probably am only about 20 or 30 cents in on each of these. So it's over a 10-time, return on a sale if I'm getting $10 for them. Here's another example of something small, glass. Anything that is, I've found in the glass or bottle world, cobalt blue, aqua, which is like this. It's kind of like this, but like a little bit bluer, okay? Light green like this, and purple. Those tend to be the colors that sell best for me. But this is also unique because I think this would have been a better sale if it was translucent, but it's basically opaque. It's semi-translucent. But it looks like an ink bottle, kind of. It probably would have taken either a glass stopper or a cork as well. I bought this for $1 at a thrift store and sold it for $24 in about 2 weeks' time. All right, this was a fun little ditty. We're talking about an etched wooden belt buckle of this guy right here, Burt Reynolds. Now, some of you youngins out there, you young bloods, you don't know who Burt Reynolds is, and that's okay. You don't need to. But he was a pretty famous actor, and he had this glorious mustache. So he was this hunk, this mustachioed ladies' man, essentially. And you know what? If you're a hipster and you want to get some really cool street cred, buy this. Well, you can't buy it. It already sold. I don't know who bought it, but they're going to be rocking an awesome wooden Burt Reynolds belt buckle. And good for you, Just if you flaunt it, I hope you wear this thing every day. This came to me from a thrift store, $1. $1. It came in the original box too, which was pretty cool. $20. Again, good for you. It could have been a Burt Reynolds collector, possibly. But it doesn't matter to me. Now we have this little desk clock. Really pretty kind of period looking piece. It is not as old as it appears. It's stylized in but based on a much earlier period of time. But it is like this blue-white marble inside of it. It is very well adorned. It's that gilt. It is made in Italy. It's missing a piece on the back here that actually protects the back of the watch movement as well. This little ball sticks out in order to help it rest. It just sits like that. I basically listed it as untested. I put that in the description because I hadn't tested it and I hadn't put a battery in it, but somebody wanted it anyways. This was a cool piece, and the reason I bought it, first of all, it was cheap. It cost me $3. Second of all, I knew that it probably would work, although I wasn't going to test it. But even if it didn't work, the look of it is the type of thing you could put on a bookshelf or on a desk or something, and it would look really nice whether it was being used or not. $20. It took me about a month. but that was because I had it listed higher and I just subsequently lowered it until it sold. Here is one of, I had over 100 of these. If you've seen earlier videos, I've shown you others of these. I did them anywhere between individuals and lots. This one was an individual. Thomas and Friends, Thomas the Train Engine World, and this is Terrence the Tractor. And you can kind of see here, he's got a face. Let's back up here. Yeah, you can see he's got the face, he's got stuff on there. He doesn't have his name on the bottom of it, it doesn't look like, but sometimes they do. The ones I have range in condition. This one was mediocre, but still, $12, over $12 for it, $5 shipping. And again, I had amassed, I bought a lot of like 75 all at once for about 50 bucks. So I was in less than $1 a piece. And then I had hand-picked ones from thrift stores over like the last year until I had amassed this large grouping. And it's great. I'm about $1 in on all of them that I have, and every one of them is selling for $10 up, even in lots a lot of times. Sometimes I'll take a little bit less for a lot, but you know, I'm just trying to move them. This was cool. I sold this for $18 and $12. So I really didn't make much money. I paid about $2 a piece for these. I would guess. Now, I didn't buy all of these individually. Some of these came in lots. Sometimes I buy very large lots of postcards in the thousands. I've bought multiple postcards at one lot, multiple thousands of them at a time. And so when I'm like that, I'm in it, 5 cents a piece or something. I don't honestly remember. You know what? As I'm thinking about it, okay, let's see. This one here with the boy standing with the flag, and this woman. I personally picked those two out. The other 4 would have come from a lot. So I'm about 5 cents in a piece. So 20 cents in on these, and then $2 a piece on these. So what is that? $4.20 in, and I accepted, I think $17.99 is what I sold this lot for. The reason that I put this up right now and sold it right now is that, today it's what, July 6th, something like that, and we just had July 4th, right? So the timing of when I listed this was very intentional. So when it's about time for 4th of July, you know what? In the 2 weeks or so prior to that, I'm listing all of my patriotic postcards. When it's getting close to Christmas, November and December is when I do all my Christmas stuff. September and October is when I do all of my Halloween stuff, and so on. So that's just, you can put up postcards all the time. They sell all the time. I'm not saying to necessarily wait, but I will say that I am more likely to sell things and for higher values if the timing of when I put it up is corresponds with the holiday that card represents, for example. So this was good. It was easy. Moved those. Hopefully they're going to be happy with them. This was a $3 purchase at a local thrift store. And the reason I bought it, even though I don't like to buy heavy glass things very often, was that I noticed, well, first of all, it's interesting. It's a cat. People like animals. Animal-oriented things or genre things sell well for me. But on the bottom, I noticed etched in this crystal, this glass, was some identifying marks, both for the manufacturer, the artist, and numbers that correspond to something that I don't know. But people who do collect this stuff like to see artists' signatures or company things on the bottom. This is, I don't know how you pronounce it, Orrefors, maybe? Orrefors. Was either the artist name or the brand. I guess maybe Sven Palmqvist was the artist, possibly. So $40 off of a $30 purchase, $20 in shipping. I was pretty happy to get that. All right, last few ones here for you guys today. This is a Byers Choice, Byers, Christmas Carolers. These are like little, I guess I'd call them dolls. I don't know. They're kind of like handmade doll things that are on stands. They got kind of bizarre looking faces. Very distinct, right? When you see this sort of like the mouth open kind of thing and and the little lines on the nose, you kind of know what you're looking at. But these came in with the antique store buyout. I think I had like 8 of them originally. I tried to sell them as a whole lot. They weren't selling, so then I split them up in 2 or 3 lots, and then they have subsequently sold. This was the last of the ones to sell. Again, I didn't buy these individually, but I'm about $1 or $2 in a piece based on the volume that I bought them in and the price I paid. And, you know, I was getting between $20 and $40 for each of the lots. So not something that I personally would buy on my own, although certain ones can sell for really good money. So if you're interested in that or you see them, definitely do your research first and see if the particular one you're wanting to get has sold recently for very much. Now we're looking at some Nikes. Anytime I find good quality, clean, lightly used Nike shoes of certain styles, I will buy them. So styles being like Dunks or Jordans or things like that. Some of them for current basketball players, LeBron shoes, things like that, Kyrie Irving. These are Court Vision lows, and I don't know if it'll show on the tag if I show the tag. The other thing is, like, you can see the bottom of them. I didn't really even clean them all that much because they don't have much wear. Oh yeah, here we go. So we're looking at, I guess 2020. So these are not all that old. They're an older style. You can see right here the dates, 11/24/20 or 9/30/20. And then this code right here, the CD 5463. This is the number or the alphanumeric code that tells you the model of shoe. Okay, if you're looking for it on eBay, you don't even have to put Nike, but if you do, just put Nike CD 5463. It's going to pop up these Court Low, whatever, and then the number here, the 101, is the specific color style because each of these models may have a dozen or more different color styles. So sometimes you're going to find the exact one, 101, and it'll pop up the white and black. If they're not as common and you put in the number, maybe that certain color style has not sold recently and you won't find comps. So then I'll just remove that and I'll look at the others and I'll just gauge based on that. But that's how you know Nike shoes, it's either going to be under the tongue or it's going to be like where your ankle would be on the inside. And those are kind of a pain, especially to photograph because it's hard to like get into them. But anyways, I buy those. I never pay more than $5 a piece for them when I buy them at thrift stores. This one cost me $5. I sold it for $20 and $12 shipping, and they're used shoes. So used shoes can sell. This was neat. I bought this at also a thrift store. It's not a thrift store that I get stuff out all that often because they're just, I don't know if they just don't get a lot of donations, but the quality of the stuff there is not as good as some other ones. They have one little glass case, and every once in a while I'll find something good in there. And this particular day I found 3 Asian snuff bottles. If you've ever seen those, they're small and they have like a little glass or plastic like lid that goes on top of them. Sometimes they can be made of a variety of materials: resin, plastic, glass. Sometimes they're clear, sometimes they're colored. You can see this one's pink. I bought one also that it's like reverse painted. So like on the inside of it, it's actually painted and then you can see on the outside what it is. But I paid $5 a piece for them. So I was $15 in on the 3 and I sold this one for $26. I sold the other 2 in a lot for more than that. So I made some pretty good money and all of them sold in less than 30 days, in less than a month. Here we go. Vintage 1960s Bausch & Lomb horn safety glasses. So I've talked about this before. This little plus sign here at the top is kind of a dead ringer for Bausch & Lomb. So if I'm just looking at them, before I even have to look inside on the part that goes over the stem, the part that goes over your ear, or even underneath of here, I'll know it's that brand. But you can see sometimes they put the brand up here in this corner, sometimes it's on the nose rim, and then oftentimes you're going to see it on the inside here of just like this individual put their name. And you can see right here, B&L, that's Bausch & Lomb. And the safety glasses, horn-rimmed glasses from like the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And especially the glasses that have metal components that are gold-filled. It'll say 1/10 or 1/20th 12 karat or 10 karat GF, gold-filled. Those also sell really well. I've had the best luck with ones that are round lenses, in case you're looking out for those. $33, 5 bids, so there's clearly people who want these. I don't exactly know what they're doing with them, if they're wearing them or if it's just like I honestly don't know. If somebody knows, tell me why those are so hot right now, but they are. Maybe they're getting their own prescription lenses in them and they're wearing the old frames because that style is back a little bit. I'm not sure. But okay, last up, an old Walkman. Do you know Walkmans, when you could put little cassette tapes in them and carry them around on your waist, and you had these little headphones? Some of these can go for crazy money if they're still functional. If they come with the original headphones and the little foam is not just deteriorating so bad, if they're still functional, usable, they can sell for gobs of money. This is not one of the models that does, clearly. It only sold for $20. But I think I only paid $2 for this, and even the battery in it, actually, it's not battery, it's solar powered. But anyways, the clock was still working, and it still worked. Now, I didn't test, I say it still worked. I didn't test it because I didn't have a cassette tape I was going to use with it, but 2 bids, $20, $6 shipping. Old Discmans, like, CD players, portable CD players, Walkmans, those things can sell really well. If you happen to come across something that's in the original box or packaging, you're going to do very well on that. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. I'm a full-time reseller. I've been doing it full-time for about 3 years. I've got 3 eBay stores. I've got an antique store that I sell at. I sell things locally, and I also have a couple of auction houses that I sell larger items like furniture and artwork and things like that out of. So anyways, if you have any information that can help me based on what you saw, please share it so that other people can also learn. And I wish you great luck this week and hope you find some treasures. Take care.